Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to season 3 of the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kaylee Smith, CEO of the Hormone Puzzle Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and pregnancy, an integrative, holistic nutritionist, doctor of natural medicine and training, creator of the Hormone Puzzle Method, an infertility warrior, 2-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptoms of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the field of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Not to mention, stay pregnant, have a healthy super baby, and easy postpartum. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests, sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being amazing listeners. So now let's get started on your road to transformation. On today's show, we have Kaylee Slater. Kaylee is determined to help as many women and their families in areas including reproductive health, preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum nutrition. She has already helped so many individuals and families optimize their health and nutrition before, during, and after pregnancy, and is eager to continue her work in this field, providing evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle strategies and interventions to provide you with all the tools you need to support your health and fertility. Kaylee understands what you eat before conceiving plays a direct role in your child's future risk of lifestyle-related conditions, including asthma, allergies, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Kaylee is a dietitian and nutritionist specializing in fertility and pregnancy nutrition. She is also pursuing her PhD from the University of Newcastle in philosophy and has published works on how pregnant women aren't getting the correct nutrition, and she is here to change that. Today, we're talking all about nutrition. Fertility nutrition for pregnancy and everything in between. Now, let's welcome Kaylee to our show. Hey, Kaylee, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you. I love talking about nutrition on this show, so this is going to be a really good one. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's very exciting to be here, and for all the US fans out there. So we're in Australia, in Sydney. So yeah, it's exciting to bring some nutrition topics all over the world.
Yes, for sure. So let's dive into things. Tell us a little bit more about you and just what was your passion and why did you want to become a dietitian and nutritionist?
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, we're in Australia, so in Sydney. I guess my reason for becoming a dietitian and a nutritionist was just, it stemmed from my love of cooking and my love of food, and then also my interest in the human body. I was like, how can I piece those two together? And it was just the perfect mesh of those two. Yes. Understanding the human body, understanding the biology, and then pairing that with, okay, well, how can we actually fuel this body? And then that's how my love for nutrition and dietetics came about. And I guess I kind of moved into the fertility, women's health, pregnancy space in my last year of study. So I did what we call in Australia an honours project, which is pretty much like a 1-year research, kind of like, and like it's like an honours, yeah. And started looking into the diets of pregnant women in their 3rd trimester and wondering, are they meeting our Australian guidelines? So that's kind of where my love for, I guess, both research and also for the I guess the prenatal space came about, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I love that. I was reading over some of your research and it was amazing. And it's all things that I talk about. So it's just nice to see that there's actually research being done in this area. So I love that. So thank you for doing that.
That's okay.
Yeah. And you talk about how most pregnant women are not meeting those nutritional requirements, especially for things like folates and iodine and iron. So talk to me a little bit about that. What were you finding in your research?
Yeah, so we did a survey of 534 Australian pregnant women, and they were in their third trimester. And what we found was that none of them met all of the Australian guidelines. So we call them our Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, and that's pretty much our food group guidelines. So for example, how many serves of breads and cereals do you need to have per day? How many serves of vegetables do you have per day? And yeah, not a single one of them were meeting all 5 of those food group guidelines. So, either that says, okay, can women not meet these through food alone, and do they need extra supplementation during pregnancy? Or perhaps are these guidelines a bit outdated, and do we need to actually look into new guidelines that reflect contemporary eating patterns? Because these guidelines are from 2013 now. The research was done in 2019. And then we also looked at whether they were meeting, like you said, the nutrient guidelines. So for example, folate, iron, we looked at fiber, calcium, and again, no. So only 7 women out of the 534 met the recommendation for iron in pregnancy. Now, we know that this is a really high target. It's 22 milligrams per day. That might not sound like a lot to the layperson, but it actually is quite a lot of iron every day to actually try and meet. So the fact that only 7 women were meeting this through their diet alone just shows that, something isn't right here. We do know that a lot of pregnant women do take prenatal supplements, and that definitely does help. But, especially in our Australian guidelines and really guidelines around the world, there isn't a recommendation to take supplements. It's just expected that women are taking supplements. So, there's definitely some sort of gap here where we're like, okay, what is going on here? This is what's actually happening. This is what should be happening. What can we do to actually improve the diets of pregnant women, and also just ensure that they are getting the support they need to meet those recommendations? Because something's a bit of a mismatch.
Gotcha. And did you find in your research that it was most people are eating, we call it here in America, a standard American diet, which is, laden with processed foods and fast foods? Or did you find that most people were eating healthy, or they thought they were eating healthy, but they just weren't getting, like, our food supply is so dense, it's so limited in nutrients that they weren't getting the nutrients through the food, and then they weren't absorbing those nutrients? Which way do you think, kind of what we're looking at here?
So in my research, we only did, I guess, an observational study. So we asked the women, what are you eating? So we couldn't actually, I guess, determine whether they were absorbing any nutrients. But what we did see was that, yes, they did have, I guess, a high intake of what we call in Australia discretionary foods, which are, those, I guess, traditional junk foods, meat pies, pizza, chocolate, lollies, all the foods that we're definitely allowed to have on a weekly basis, but we try to have more in moderation. So yeah, the women did have a higher intake of those than what we'd like to see. And I guess, that just shows that those foods are a really big part of our lives, of our diets. But how do we make sure that pregnant women, and really everyone, are eating those foods less often and less processed foods more often? How do we find the balance? And it's really hard. It's really hard to do when, like you said, our supermarkets are laden with these foods. They're everywhere, and it's really hard to, especially when you're busy, to get away from these quick convenience processed foods, which some are not bad for you, but some, are not as healthy as we'd like them to be.
For sure, for sure. So what food should we be eating? Can you kind of go into that a little bit? What should a typical diet look like for fertility and for pregnancy? And is there a difference there?
Yeah. So I guess there's no typical diet for fertility. What we really just want to be making sure is that we're getting enough of those important nutrients. So we talk about folate, we talk about iodine, we talk about omega-3 fatty acids, iron, fiber, enough calcium. So yeah, really, we don't want to be focusing on cutting out any foods and saying, okay, we can't have any discretionary foods because I'm trying to fall pregnant or I'm going through my fertility journey. That's definitely not what we're saying, but we just want to make sure that our diets are rich in those nutrients. So I can give some examples of what some of those foods are. So for example, folate, we get folate from our dark leafy greens. So if you think of spinach, you think of kale, broccoli, asparagus, all those dark leafy green vegetables are one of our best sources of folate. We also get it from oranges and strawberries and whole grains as well. Especially, I know in the US and here in Australia as well, a lot of our breads and cereals are fortified with folic acid. So folic acid is the synthetic form of folate. And basically that means that food manufacturers have to put folic acid in their breads and cereals. So things like bread that you find in the supermarket shelf. In Australia here, pasta. So all the pasta that you find on the supermarket shelf, rice, oats, all of them have folic acid added in, and that's where you can get a lot of your, I guess, folic acid as well from those foods. Iodine comes from really from our seafood supply and also from iodized salt, so from the sea. So things like fish and seafood, and yeah, just swapping whatever salt you have, swap to an iodized salt. And that should be pretty easy to find in most supermarkets, wherever you are. Iron. A lot of us know that we can find iron in red meat. That is our best source of iron. But you can also find iron in fish, seafood, poultry. We can get iron in our beans and legumes if you follow a vegan, vegetarian diet. Also our dark leafy green vegetables. So again, things like spinach, kale, all have iron in them as well. I guess calcium as well. We find calcium, the best sources are in our dairy products. So if we think about milk, cheese, yogurt, but then again, if you're following a vegan or vegetarian diet, you can find calcium in soy products. So often soy milks are fortified with calcium, or a lot of the plant-based milks as well are fortified with calcium. So for example, if you're going for an almond milk or you're going for a oat milk, whatever, coconut milk, whatever milk you decide to drink, if you don't eat dairy or don't drink dairy milk. And also in other fortified foods, so sometimes they'll also put calcium in things like orange juice, so with vitamin D as well. So just look out on the back of the packet. If calcium is in there, it would say on the ingredient list. And then we also have our fiber. So fiber is really important for really any diet, whether you are trying to fall pregnant or not. And the best sources of fiber are in our whole grains, so breads, cereals, oats, and also in our fruits and veggies as well.
I love it. And should our needs change for pregnancy, or is it similar? I've always heard, and, I talk to my clients about this a lot. They have these questions. Should we increase our calorie intake? Like, I'm eating for 2, and I try to tell them, and I'll let you answer as well, but it's not a huge calorie jump. You're not like literally eating for 2 grown adults. You're eating for a little baby. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I don't know where the notion of eating for 2 came from. I mean, if you think about the size of a baby, especially while it's actually still growing in your belly, it is not the same size as you. Right. You should definitely not be eating for 2 adults. So I'm not sure, back in the day where that notion came from, but right. That is incorrect. But yeah, you're right. It's really not a high calorie jump. And especially in the first trimester, it's pretty much just preconception nutrition and thinking about the food safety. Like, you really don't need to be eating anymore. And often women are not feeling well enough to actually eat anymore anyway. So really, in the first trimester, you don't need to be trying to get more calories. When we get to the second and the third trimester, it's roughly around 300 or so calories a day, 300 to 400 that you need to be eating more. And that can be like, some peanut butter on toast. It's really not a huge amount extra that you should be eating. And again, with pregnancy, same as fertility, it's just about focusing on those nutrients, trying to make sure you're getting them as much as you can. And if you do need extra support and you feel, okay, I'm feeling sick because I might have morning sickness and I'm not able to get, say, vegetables in today, or you think, I'm feeling really, really exhausted, more so than usual, maybe my iron's low. Take control of your healthcare. Go to your health professionals and get some support. If you feel like you can't meet those needs, get the support that you need. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. Our job is to help you. So yeah, there's really no need to worry or to suffer if you really do need additional help. But yeah, your needs during pregnancy don't really change. It's a little calorie jump towards the end, and just focusing on the food safety stuff is the most important.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about cervical mucus. This is another question I get a lot. How can I make more of this? Is there foods, or does my water impact this? So talk to me a little more about that.
Yeah. So I guess cervical mucus is, more so of a medical question, but we do have some research to say that some foods can actually help with our cervical mucus, whether it's the health of our cervical mucus or making enough. And it's an important part of our fertility journey, because the cervical mucus can actually help the sperm swim through and actually meet the egg and help with fertilization. So it is really important to keep our cervical mucus healthy. So we do have a couple of nutrients and foods that can supposedly help. Firstly are omega-3 fatty acids. So these are in things like salmon, tuna, mackerel, sardines, so a lot of our oily fish. And supposedly having more omega-3s can help improve the quality of your cervical mucus as well, and also promote ovulation if that's something that you're struggling with. We also have vegetarian protein as opposed to, say, animal protein. So things like beans and legumes, tofu, lentils, a lot of those foods are really helpful as well. So if you can maybe swap one of your meat meals a week to a vegetarian meal. A lot of people have heard of something called Meatless Monday. That could be a nice idea to do with your family or your friends. Try new recipes if you haven't, or something like that. Then we also have dark leafy green vegetables. I know I'm harping on them a lot. You're going to hear the word dark leafy green vegetables a lot here.
I love it.
But yeah, things like broccoli, spinach, bok choy, pak choy. So a lot of those like dark Asian greens are really nice, and just experiment as well. It doesn't always have to be spinach and kale. There's so many. Go to the supermarket and there's heaps of different dark leafy greens out there. It doesn't only have to be the traditional ones that we hear of all the time. Then we also have our B vitamins, so things like our whole grains, fish, poultry, meat, eggs, dairy, legumes, lentils, nuts, seeds. So again, you can probably kind of understand that the same foods are coming through in a lot of the responses, really focusing on whole grains, eggs, dairy, poultry, lentils, legumes, dark leafy greens, all those types of foods. And then the last one that's shown to help is vitamin D. So again, getting out into the sun, and obviously with sunscreen, but getting out into the sun where we can. And also something that a lot of people don't know is that if you actually leave your mushrooms in the sun, so buy some mushrooms from the grocery store, leave them in the sun for 20 to 30 minutes, and they actually absorb vitamin D the same way that our skin does. And then you cook them and eat them like that. And it's a really good way of getting vitamin D.
Amazing. I love that. I love mushrooms. I'm a big, I love to, especially like medicinal mushrooms. I'll play around with that. And then just like all the varieties, cooking with them. They're so fun. So I love that tip. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're very versatile.
Yes. So talking about seed cycling, we brought up seeds, and I've seen a correlation between my clients introducing seed cycling and their cervical mucus production. So talk to me about that. How do you feel about seed cycling, and is it something that you recommend?
Yep. The research is quite mixed when it comes to seed cycling. My take is that I don't go out of my way to recommend it to clients, but there's also no harm. So if a client wants to do it, perfectly fine. If they don't, I recommend having seeds all the time. So whether it's whatever seed it is, pumpkin seeds, linseeds, chia seeds, whatever seed they want to have, I recommend they have them all if they possibly can, as much as they can as well. So yeah, I guess I'm waiting for more research to come out before I start going out of my way to recommend it. But yeah, again, it's something, and a lot of nutrition is like this, where there's no harm in trying it. So why not? If it's only going to benefit you, you're getting healthy fats into your diet, whether it does help with your cervical mucus or not, it doesn't matter. You're still getting really good food into your diet throughout the month. So yeah, it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment, and yeah, still waiting for more research to come out. But it's a very interesting phenomenon to think about.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love it. So we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk practical tips on how we can start to optimize our fertility through nutrition. So we'll be right back. Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching. Whether you're struggling to get pregnant with pesky hormone symptoms, or you're working to build a career in the fertility and women's health space, we have you covered. Visit our website at www.coachkayla.com to learn more on how we can help you. Text the keyword fertility to 615-257-8855 for your free fertility meal plan. Hey, Kaylee, welcome back.
Thank you.
So let's talk practical tips. What are maybe your top 5 tips that we can start to do today to optimize our fertility?
Yeah. So firstly is to get in those cruciferous vegetables. So by cruciferous vegetables, I mean broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all of them are really helpful for our fertility and for our hormones, as well as they can actually help to move estrogen out of our body as well. A really important one for fertility as well is to go see your doctor or dietitian or nutritionist or health professional and get a really good prenatal vitamin that is tailored to you. There are so many prenatal vitamins on the market. If you've had a look, you might be like, oh my gosh, there is so many, which do I choose? And it can be really, really confusing. So go just get some personalized advice, because no two are the same. They have different amounts of nutrients in them, and it's really important to make sure that whatever you're taking is actually the right one for you. My third tip is to just make sure that you get your fiber up. So keep your bowels moving. It's really important for your estrogen removal, but also just to keep your body going and keep you healthy and happy, to make sure you're getting enough fiber in your body. So that could be, like I said earlier, through fruits, through veggies, through a lot of our whole grain foods as well. So breads, cereals, pastas, rice, all those types of really good quality carbohydrates will give us a lot of fiber as well. Another important, food group or nutrient for fertility is to make sure you're getting healthy fats in your diet. They're really, really important for our hormones. And as well, they're just really important to make sure that you're getting the good healthy fats and less of the saturated fat or the not so good healthy fats. So for example, that could be olive oil, that could be avocado, seeds and nuts give us really good healthy fats as well. And also then our omega-3 fatty acids. So like I said earlier as well in the episode, fish, So oily fish like salmon, tuna, trout, mackerel, sardines are all going to be really good sources of healthy fats in our diet. And then my last one is to just make sure that you're having a wide variety of different foods and a wide variety of different nutrients. You know, if we're eating the same thing every single day, we're not going to be able to get all of the different nutrients and all of the different antioxidants in our diet. So try have as much variety in your diet as possible while also making it practical. You know, we can't go and buy the entire grocery store worth of food and try and make something completely different every day. That would be impractical. A lot of us are way too busy to make that happen. So yeah, just to make sure that you have as much variety as you can, whether it's having a different fruit every day or, you know, cycling through 6 or 7 different vegetables throughout your week instead of just having the same 3. So yeah, just try and make sure that your diet is as much variety and as colorful as it can possibly be.
For sure. For sure. And any foods we should think about that we need to stay away from? Is there anything that's like off the table?
Yeah. So I really don't like to, I guess my philosophy, and I tell this to my clients all the time, is that if I can't do it, I'm not going to make you do it. And you know, we're all human. Everyone likes a bit of chocolate here and there, or everyone needs a piece of cake every now and then on your birthday or a friend's birthday, whatever it is. So really, I don't like to say avoid any foods unless, say you're pregnant and we're thinking about the food safety. That's a different story. But when you're trying to fall pregnant as well, it can sometimes be a longer journey than we think it's going to be. So to try and avoid foods for however long it takes, you know, that might be a longer time than you wanted it to be. And we shouldn't have to avoid anything. So my answer simply is no, there's nothing that's off the charts. It's really about finding that balance. You know, when you do feel like something sweet or, you know, whatever your guilty pleasure is, have that in moderation and then go back to eating as well as you can most of the time. So yeah, really just, you can actually keep yourself sane and keep yourself healthy as well.
For sure. For sure. That's what I tell my clients. I always say eat 80%, you know, good, clean, whole food nutrition. That's for your body. And then 20% is for your soul. And that's like the fun foods. So yeah, you got to live. We're all human. Yeah. What about our partners? What should they be doing? You know, our husbands, our partners, should their dietary needs change versus what we're eating?
Yeah. So I guess just thinking about a heterosexual relationship here, I guess male fertility needs aren't that different to female fertility nutrition needs, really. There might be differences in the amount of nutrients that they have. So, for example, in male fertility, we do focus a bit more on making sure there is definitely enough zinc, there's definitely enough selenium, there's some CoQ10, but really besides for a couple of differences in the amounts of nutrients that we should be having, the principles are the same. You know, making sure that we're getting enough healthy fats in our diet, reducing the saturated fats, so the unhealthier fat, you know, increasing our antioxidants. So like I said, eating colorfully. Is that even a word?
Right.
Making sure that you're eating colorful foods throughout the day and throughout the week as well. So whether it's, you know, a whole lot of different fruits and veggies throughout the week, or making sure that at every meal you've got a couple different colors there. So whether it's red, orange, and green, or, you know, whatever it is. So yeah, the principles are really the same. It's just the amounts of nutrients. So for male fertility, we do focus a lot on selenium, on zinc, and on CoQ10.
Gotcha. I love it. Well, talk to us a little bit about support. You know, I'm a big believer in, you know, get help, get a guide, get somebody to support you, like a practitioner like myself or you. So talk to us about that. Why is getting support so important?
Yeah, it is so important. Firstly, if you Google anything, you'll just find so much information. Some of it is fantastic and really, really helpful, and some of it is not at all. And it can make you, firstly, really confused about what you should be doing, especially during the fertility process. And also, some information is just incorrect, and also fear-mongering as well. So rather than go down a rabbit hole and you know, get yourself into a panic and into a worry, just get the support that you need. Find a health professional that's wanting to help you, and that's going to be there for you and support you through the way. In Australia, we really like to focus on a multidisciplinary team. It's not just about having your one support person, it's about having your entire team on board. And that also allows you to be informed and also properly informed, and then allow you to make decisions about your care. The fertility journey can be long, it can be grueling. Sometimes you're not getting answers as to why things are not going right, and sometimes you're not getting the answers that you want to be getting. So it's really, really important to reach out and to also not suffer in silence if you need additional support. Please, that's what we're here for as health professionals. Really, our job and our passion is to help you. So really just make sure that you reach out to whoever you need, because it'll make the journey as well a lot less pressurizing, and you won't be, you'll be informed throughout the entire journey. And that's there's no power in knowledge. It allows you to make better choices about your healthcare and about the journey that you're on.
For sure. I love that. Oh, well, Kaylee, it's been so fun having you here. Tell everybody where we can find you and learn more about working with you.
Yeah, so you can pop onto our website. So it's www.thedietologist.com.au. So make sure you have the AU there. We're in Australia. And yeah, you can check out the different options that we have when working with us. You can also apply for a 15-minute call where we just go online on Zoom and do a quick chat, and then you can tell us, what you're looking for and what support you need, and then we can make sure that whatever we're offering you is actually going to be the best for what you're looking for. And yeah, we work with clients all around the world. So even though we are in Australia, technology has made it very easy for us to work with clients from all walks of life. So yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to see us. Just pop into the website, or also we have an Instagram as well, which is the Dietologist, and you can pop on there, and we post almost every day. And yeah, there's a lot of information that we give out that might help you along the way too.
Oh, I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much again. Before we close, I would love to hear any words of encouragement, advice, or anything you want to leave us with.
Yeah, so I guess I've got my two best pieces of advice. The first one is not to put so much pressure on yourself to get anything perfect. I always say to my clients, there is no such thing as perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect fertility diet. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. This can be a long or a short journey, and you want it to be an enjoyable journey as well. So don't make yourself crazy over not being able to have your favorite foods every now and then. And I guess my last piece of advice is that you know your body better than anyone else does. If you feel, something's not so right, take the time, like both of us said before, take the time to get the support and to get as many opinions and as many answers that you need, and just advocate for your healthcare. You know your body. If you think something isn't right, advocate for your healthcare.
For sure. Amen to that. Well, thank you so much again. It's been amazing having you here. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you, ladies, for listening to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. Until next time. Bye. Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at coachkayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. So make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.